invited back every month because you filled the snack table. So yay! And if you guys have noticed, there's no Ken today. Ken is under the weather, so he's skipping the first meeting that I can ever remember.
Wow.
And we don't have a sign-in book, so everybody say cheese.
Cheese.
Cheese. For posterity, we now know who was here. So, welcome to Epiholics Anonymous. So, today's program is going to be on the history of yellow epiphyllum, past and present. This was a program originally done in 2013 for the San Diego Epiphyllum Society. I've been working on it. Well, I was working on it till about 5:20 this evening, bringing it up to the present day. And as we all know, epis are all the rage. Yellow epiphyllum are all the rage now. So we'll get right into it. And if you have any questions during the program, just holler out. Linda Sinkenvick was the originator of the program. And time out. Quite a difference in 1941 compared to now for what our shows look like. That right there is what many consider to be German empress. And if you've never grown that, if you have one that grows well, it's not German empress, it's a clone. The real German empress or Dutch Kaiserin is absolutely atrocious to grow. And when it blooms, it'll kill it. It'll bloom itself to death.
I have a question. Do you want the light skin, Denny?
Oh yeah, you know what? I forgot to
I
do
know where they're
that.
at.
Thank you. You got it? Or
Yes.
Okay. You can just cut these front ones off completely. That's got it. Thank you. I don't know how many people still grow crenatum. It grows like a weed, so if you don't have a lot of space, it's not one that you want to grow. Most of us collectors now consider this basically the weed of Epiphyllum. Most collectors with large collections don't even want this anymore. Don't you just love these prices? Even when I came along, most of the Epiphyllum catalogs, they still look like this. Even Rainbow Gardens and stuff like that, they had very few photos. It was mostly just descriptions and maybe a page or two of photos in the back of the catalog.
It's hard to keep photos.
This is the way Fort Nobar grew all their plants. They would actually, you see them, these pots are above ground, but they would actually, for most of their plants, they would take these pots and they would bury them in the ground.
Should be garland, Obar.
Good luck trying to get Eppies to grow like that now.
Yeah.
We'll have to tell them that later.
Yeah.
This one's pronounced Thorany. I had to look that up today. These older varieties like Reward and things like that, you can see the stark difference in the flower, the shading of the flower color. This can make some of these older yellows very hard to identify. I don't even know if this flower exists anymore. In 40-something years, I've never seen it. Gold medal was really popular for quite a few years. see here by Naranja, you don't necessarily get yellow flowers from yellow flowers. You can get, yellows can appear from other colors as well. Olympic gold was thought to be almost extinct, but we found some of it and we're trying to bring it back. So hopefully within the next 5 to 6 years, we can get it back in circulation again.
So is that considered more of a butterscotch color?
It would be now. I think this photo's a little off. I don't think it's quite as dark as what it appears in the photo, but it's still one of the darker colored yellows. Volunteers is one that will bloom in hot weather. It'll bloom almost white. If you're just starting out and you want to grow yellows, this is one to put on your wish list. It's absolutely huge. And the branches average about 5 inches wide. It makes an absolutely huge plant. I've been looking for the real Madeline for a few years now, and so far every one that I've tried and the ones up here at the Pinnacle all bloomed incorrect. So if anybody runs across the real one, let me know. French gold and Kellyanne are still really popular today. Matter of fact, I still sell French gold. Golden octopus, I don't really know anybody who has it in their collection anymore. It kind of sounds exotic, but when it blooms, most people end up not liking it. So that usually when you need space, that's one that goes. And you can see why this is my French gold. You can see why I still keep it. It's a fabulous yellow. And here again, Telly is this big, huge orange. It averages about 12 inches wide, and it produced yellow flowers. here's the cross that we all know. This is probably one of the most famous crosses of any hybridizer out there. Just about everybody who has a Epi collection has a Clown and Lady Ruffles cross in their collection. George named just about everything from this cross after clowns or the circus. But it also produced yellow flowers that most people don't associate with this cross. Dijonnaise is still really popular. For me, George's Triumph, since I'm in, it always wants to bloom midsummer in the heat. It blooms almost white for me. I haven't seen this in circulation in a long time. I have no idea if it still survives. William W. Angus is a very slow grower, but it's a spectacular flower. And on the next slide, you'll see why. It is absolutely that yellow. Very slow grower though. It'll grow probably less than a foot a year. I started growing alchemy again because I know it hasn't been in circulation for a long time. So I'm thinking next year I'll have it ready to get back out to the public. San Diego put Meadowlark on one of their newsletters, and down there the flower was about 12 inches wide and it was absolutely gorgeous. And we grow it up here and it doesn't get as big and it's not quite as yellow. It likes that cooler weather. This one I no longer have. I actually named this flower. It's a Rusty Coke hybrid that Ethel Hurst grew, and Career Girl's kind of an odd name. Towards the end of Ethel's life, she was getting a little on the senile side, and she got this kick of wanting to name all the ones that were blooming kind of risque names. This originally, she wanted to call this Happy Hooker. And Galen and I had to spend about a week convincing her that Happy Hooker was not a good name for an Epi. And we finally came up with this, and she agreed to name it Career Girl. So that's what we registered it as. I no longer grow this. I wish I did. This was always a fabulous plant to grow. So as we've seen in some of the previous photos, yellows are really susceptible to the weather. The hotter the weather, the lighter the yellow color is going to be. They're also, the different kind of fertilizer you use can make a difference in the intensity of the color. This is one thing that can make them very hard to ID. I've even had, you saw earlier pictures of Sonoma Sunshine. I have Sonoma Sunshine that 5 or 6 years ago I took the photo of, pure yellow like it's supposed to be. Last year it bloomed, I thought it was the wrong plant. The center of it bloomed absolutely white. So yellows are very touchy when it comes to what time of year they bloom, how hot the weather is. You see here, same thing, in 2021 we had a really hot summer, so the Tecate then was extremely light, and then 2023 it was cooler, it bloomed more the traditional yellow it's supposed to be. A lot of these smaller flowers that use Macranthus will have a little bit of a scent to them. You see here, Brilliance Gold puts out quite a few flowers. It's another one that you have to watch that it will actually bloom itself to death. Primary Ignition's one that's got it actually has a fragrance. The difference, a lot of people get confused between scent and fragrance, and the easiest way to describe it is if you have to stick your nose in the flower to smell it, it has a scent. Fragrance, you can smell from 2 to 3 feet away. This one has an actual fragrance, but the majority of people don't like the way it smells. DTO is still in circulation. I have never seen popcorn, and I don't have any idea if it ever even got distributed. I know Derek himself lost most of all his plants due to a freeze one year, so I don't even think he has majority of his own plants anymore.
What's the cross between
what? I don't remember. How many people here have tried to grow Chiba Lovely Dawn? How many have been successful?
Horrible.
Is one of the worst growers there is. And a lot of you have seen Sakura Hime, the way it blooms. Chiba was also treated with colchicine just like Sakura Hime was. So we don't know whether its bad growth is maybe from the fact that the seeds were treated, or whether the fact that when it came over here, it was put on a graft, and it was only ever distributed from the graft. So that could have been the culprit too. We just don't know. But yeah, absolutely horrible to grow. These are two very popular ones. Chardonnay Twist is fairly hard to grow. It gets most of the growth on it is like about the size of your little finger. Yellow Tang can be temperamental. A lot of people can grow it easy, but there are some areas, my place for example, it absolutely hates to grow. I grew this a long time ago, and I got rid of the plant. For some reason, when it bloomed, I was not happy with the flower at all. Love Potion number 9, we had thought that this was basically almost extinct. Don Burnett never really distributed it, but we found I had one little piece of it that was dying, so I reached out to everybody I knew that Don had traded plants with, and Barb Landon actually had some of it left. So she immediately brought it to me, and now it's starting to grow well. So hopefully, probably in about another 5 years, we can get it back out into circulation. I saw this bloom in person at Don's house. It is absolutely gorgeous. Don always liked to name things after mythical characters, fairies, stuff like that. So that's where this name comes from. This is from Greek mythology. It is the, let me see if I can remember this correctly. It's one of the 50 daughters from the old man in the sea. That's what the name translates to. many have kiwis in their collection? You're over by me. You know how hard they are to grow.
I bought them several times, but they don't last
So,
a year.
if you've never grown kiwis before, they are very popular because they are all multi-petaled, but they all come from New Zealand. They were hybridized in New Zealand, and over there, the Burtons, not only did they have the New Zealand weather, which is almost always cool and there's moisture in the air, but the Burtons also grew under shade netting. So all of their plants were hybridized in these cool, dark climates. So we get them over here, and especially in California, where we have these dry, hot summers, and kiwis absolutely hate it. So in a lot of areas, for us, the kiwis are extremely hard to grow. Kiwi John Boy was one of the original plants that they brought over when they did Epicon, and I was the only one that ended up with a cutting of it. It is one of the more truer yellows, but extremely slow to grow. It grows about 6 to 7 inches a year. This is one of the easier kiwis to grow. Grows well, especially in the heat, and produces a lot of flowers, which a lot of the kiwis don't. A lot of the kiwis have Evie Latimer in their crosses, and if you've ever grown Evie Latimer, you know it only blooms when it wants to. Maybe every 5 or 6 years you get a bloom. Kiwi Sunshine will throw out 25 blooms on a plant, which is kind of unusual for the kiwis. This is another one that's it's fairly okay to grow. I told you I'd do it. You want me to go back? Mr. Garrett, you're going to have to explain that when you're ESA president. Nico-san is another one that you can see here in the photo that it looks quite yellow. It is actually registered as white inner petals, yellow outer. And in everyone that I've seen in person, that's the way it blooms. White inner, yellow outer. I don't know whether this is maybe just a trick of the flash from the camera or what, but it normally does not look this yellow at all. This is a really good one to have. I keep this one around all the time. For those of you who don't know, Judy Johnson was a long-time San Diego member. That's the way spiced hawthorn is supposed to look. It will bloom a lighter yellow at times. For those that haven't grown rock crane, it tends to spot a little bit. So you're not going to get 100% clean growth on it. How many know what yellowhead is named after? Does anybody here know?
A fish of some kind, isn't it?
It is Evelyn's childhood teddy bear.
Oh.
And yellowhead grows much slower than spiced hawthorn. Spiced hawthorn is actually a pretty decent grower. Yellowhead is not. It grows very, very slow compared to the other ones, especially. For those that don't know, XNAT means that he didn't do it. It wasn't an intentional cross. That it was done by some kind of insect, and he just let the seed pod grow on the plant. I have no idea how that A stayed in there. I thought I deleted that. So that doesn't mean anything. This is what happens when it's 5 o'clock and you're trying to get the presentation done to be here by 6. Are you going to be in for a treat for some of this new stuff? Because some of this stuff, probably the majority of you have not seen. Booba is one of Evelyn Shiraki's crosses. She did not want this one registered. It's not a very good grower. It spots quite heavily. But she had, before she realized that it was a plant that didn't grow as well, she had already passed around some of the cuttings. So when Evelyn retired, it was still around. And enough people ended up passing it around to each other that it became to the point where she said go ahead and register it because it was already out there and there wasn't much we could do about it. When it blooms for me, it's like a medium large, but with the way it grows, quite honestly, it wouldn't be one that I would try to seek out because it really is. It's a kind of a crappy grower. Yeah, but there's others. I mean, if you're gonna grow instead of this, grow spiced hawthorn. Much easier to grow, better flower. This is one of French Suplee's hybrids. Cookie, you're the one that's growing this. Does it always bloom irregular like this? No. So this is the way it looks all the time. axis. For me, I don't get this darker color on this one. This one always, for me, it tends to look a little lighter. I like Acapulco Sunset a little bit better because to me the colors on Acapulco Sunset's more consistent. This is another one of Frank's newer hybrids. Cookie, how large is this one? Like medium, large? Does it grow well? This one is fragrant and it will produce anywhere from 50 to 100 blooms on the plant. And it's on the small side. For a small, the plant grows extremely well.
How'd you come up with that?
It is, you know, even with all the text, it is capital I-L. Yeah, so in most of the fonts now that we use nowadays, the capital L, the capital I, and the little L all look alike. Yeah, when I first started growing this, I forever spelled it wrong. I was putting it as I. This is I guess it'd be considered small. It's named for Jerry Moreau from San Diego. Not a very good grower. It tends to die off after blooming. This is one of Fred Stegner's hybrids. Very strong flower. The petals are so thick on it that if you take your hands and you try to push them, that they almost like give resistance. This is another one of Fred Stegner's hybrids. He did a whole series of seedlings that he put OOO on. And if any of you have the addendums, you'll notice that these are not in the addendums. We are still researching. At the time Fred passed away, he had sent word that he wasn't 100% sure he wanted to use the OOO, but now they are starting to be in circulation. Enough people, he gave enough cuttings away with OOO on it that I think when we print the registry, we're going to leave that on there. This one is absolutely gorgeous. Couple tidbits about yellow. So if you're ever in a trivia game, now you have answers. That's it. All right. And there are hundreds upon hundreds of photos and flowers that we could have added to this presentation. I'm thinking about maybe sometime next year, even adding to it more. We're also getting a lot of about the last 5 years for new registrations. We're seeing a lot of yellows come in, and actually a lot of those the public's never seen. So we may add that into this as well for a later presentation down the road. It'd be nice to be able to get the new stuff that's being registered, because a lot of it's coming from outside the United States. So we here actually don't get to see it. So looking to add that in as well. So we might do this again in another couple of years, and just keep updating it for all the new stuff coming along. But yellows are I think now yellows have overtaken any other color as far as popularity in Epiphyllum. And as you can see, they're fairly new. As far as the lineage in Epiphyllum go, they're not that old, so they're still coveted. Even the older yellow varieties are still worth collecting. So I hope you liked it, and thanks for coming out.